In the Ivy Hill Cemetery in Cedar Brook, Philadelphia, there is a headstone that reads America's Unknown Child. It is a reminder of the child, a boy who was found beaten to death in a box 65 years ago. He has been called the boy in the box. One of Philadelphia's most famous unsolved murders, the identity of the boy in the box stumped investigators for years. Since his discovery in 1957, detectives have pursued thousands of leads. Some were better leads than others, but either way, they all turned up empty. But through genetic genealogy and work from detectives, the boy in the box was finally identified in 2022. To get to the name, we need to start at the beginning. How did he become the boy in the box? On February 23, 1957, a student at La Salle College noticed the boy in the box for the first time. The student was in the area hoping to catch a glimpse of the girls enrolled at Sisters of Good Shepherd, a home for wayward youths. Instead, he noticed a box in the underbrush. He saw the boy's head, but he mistook it for a doll and went on his way. When he heard about a missing girl from New Jersey, he returned to the scene on February 25th, found the body, and called the police. Police responded to the scene, found the body of the boy between the ages of 4 and 6 years old in a JCPenney box that had once contained a bassinet. He was naked and wrapped in a flannel blanket, and investigators determined that he was malnourished and had been beaten to death. The first officer on the scene, Elmer Palmer, said, "It's something you don't forget. This one was the one that bothered everybody." For the next 6 decades, detectives pursued thousands and thousands of leads to be able to try and identify him. They started with the boy himself. An investigation of the body revealed that his sandy hair had been recently and crudely cut. Clumps of hair were still on his body, leading some to believe that his killer had tried to disguise his identity. Investigators also found scars on his ankle, foot, and groin that appeared to be surgical, and his feet and right hand were pruny, suggesting he'd been in water. Despite these clues, a facial reconstruction and hundreds of thousands of flyers that were distributed across Pennsylvania, the boy's identity remained unknown. Reports came forward that detectives chased numerous leads, including that he was a Hungarian refugee, a kidnapped victim from 1955, and even related to local carnival workers. Of all the leads that investigators pursued while trying to identify the boy in the box, 2 seemed promising. The first came in 1960 when an employee of the medical examiner's office named Remington Bristow spoke to a psychic. The psychic led Remington to a local foster home. While attending an estate sale at the foster home, he noticed a bassinet that looked like the one sold at JCPenney and blankets that resembled the ones wrapped around the dead boy. He theorized that the boy had been the child of the owner's stepdaughter and unwed mother. The police did pursue this lead, but they eventually believed that it was a dead end. 40 years later, in 2002, a woman identified as M told investigators that the boy had been purchased by her abusive mother from another family in 1954. She claimed that his name was Jonathan and that he had been physically and sexually abused by her mother. After he vomited up baked beans one night, M claimed that her mother had beaten him to death in a fit of rage. Reports believed that M's story seemed credible, as baked beans had been found in the boy's stomach. M had also said that her mother had tried to bathe the boy after beating him, which could have explained his pruny fingers, but the police were unable to substantiate her claims. Therefore, decades passed and the boy in the box remained unidentified. However, all that changed in December 2022 when investigators in Philadelphia announced that they could finally give him a name. On December 8, 2022, Philadelphia Police Department Commissioner Danielle Outlaw announced a breakthrough in the case. The boy found dead in 1957 was Joseph Augustus Zarelli. As she explains further during a police press conference, Joseph was identified thanks to genetic genealogy. His DNA was uploaded to genetic databases, which led detectives to relatives on the mother's side. After poring through birth records, they were also able to identify his father. They also learned that Zarelli's mother had 3 other children. Investigators found that Joseph was born on 13th January 1953, which meant that he was 4 years old when his body was found. Other than this information, the detectives withheld everything else they had possibly found. They explained that various questions still remain about his life and death. The police are not releasing his parents' name out of respect for his living siblings. They have refused to speculate who could have killed Joseph, though they do have their suspicions. Commissioner Danielle said that this is still an active homicide investigation and we still need the public's help in filling in this child's story. This announcement only closes one chapter in this little boy's story, while opening up a new one. And that's all the information I have on this case. Do let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below, and I'll see you for the next one.